Therwan Sannai. Today also we have a big opportunity to know about the truth. And I think today morning you met your teacher. And you learnt a lot. I have a small concern. You always learn because actually you like to learn. Because you all are well educated. Therefore you know how to learn. Perhaps you may have notepads, then you can jot down these things, whatever we talk about. Therefore you may have Dhamma facts with you. And you may know a lot about Buddhism. But that doesn't make any change. This is the most practical philosophy I ever found in my life. We should practice this. If we practice, you will see the truth. Because you need to see the truth. We use that word called see. We need to see the truth, ladies and gentlemen. That means actually we should experience the truth. By learning, you can't experience the truth. Like we learned physics and chemistry, biology, etc. We learned all these things, but we didn't experience them. We only learned. Therefore, if someone asks, then we can teach them. But we couldn't experience it, and we can't talk about our experiences. Therefore, I want you to experience the truth. Then you will be happy. And you will be the happiest person in the world. Until that, you will learn. Until that, you will seek for knowledge. Seeking for knowledge is endless. You will seek for knowledge, and you will gather knowledge, you will talk about it. Perhaps the ego will use it to be superior. That's why people always talk about the Dhamma. They learned, you may have seen conversations, perhaps WhatsApp conversations. They create WhatsApp groups and they post the Dhamma. But the Buddha asks us to use the Dhamma just to find the truth and find the liberty. Find liberty and salvation. That's the difference between knowing the Dhamma and understanding the Dhamma. When you understand the Dhamma, you will have a serene life, serene mind. You won't have any I would say any mental issues, but that doesn't mean that mental diseases. But you know that everybody is suffering in this world. But when I say everybody suffers, perhaps you think that we are not suffering, we enjoy our life. We are young perhaps, or we have money, we have fame, we have everything what we need and we enjoy our life. But that's not the truth. That's what you want to show. That's why you post your smile or your smiley face. in various things you use, WhatsApp or Facebook or whatever. You try to show that you are happy. That's why last time we met, I told you, you always try to wear a smile on your face to show that you are a happy person, and please associate with me because I'm a happy person. Come to me. I'm a happy person. Be a friend to me. But the truth is, you are not a happy person. Is that okay for me to say that? You are not a happy person. You are seeking for happiness. That's the truth. You are seeking for happiness. If you seek for happiness, you never find it. Because happiness is within you. But you seek for happiness in somewhere else. Therefore, you never find it. Never ever find it. No one found it yet. There is a method. There is a path. We should use that path. We should see that path first, and we should start moving on that path. That's why I always ask you to come and join with us. But I'm not forcing you to do anything. But you need to follow the path. Otherwise, you will die with knowledge. You have physics knowledge, then you will die with that. You have maths knowledge, chemistry, whatever. You have that knowledge, and you will die with that. It doesn't make any change in your life. If you expect a change in your life, you need to practice. That means actually you have to be the Dhamma, I would say. Now you have the Dhamma. Therefore you think that you are happy or you are prosperous because you have things. You can say that I have a good education. You have things. The last time in last sermon, actually, we were talking about that. You can't be happy with what you have. You have to be happy with what you are or who you are. You have many things, ladies and gentlemen, but it doesn't show who you are. You have everything. You have a good education, you have wealth, lands, few businesses perhaps, a good family, a lovely spouse, children. You have everything but happiness. Because you have things, therefore you are satisfied with those things. I have these things. I have sons and daughters. I have my children. They are very good. They get a good education, or they are abroad. They are well off. I did my duty. That's how you always think. You always try to be satisfied with what you have. But still you try. Because I think that's a wrong path. That's why you keep trying, but you don't get any result. You try to be happy with what you have. Perhaps you are deceived, or you have been deceived. You have been deceived because you have been taught these things. Acquire more things, then you will be happy. Actually, you wanted to acquire many things. That's why you have acquired many things. Then you think that that's the protection. You can protect your family, or perhaps you can protect yourself by having many things. Therefore, you wanted to acquire many things, and you have acquired, and you have a lot. But you have everything, ladies and gentlemen, but that's not who you are. Finally, if you permit me to say this, you are an empty ego. That's it. Even though you think that you have many things, you don't have anything. Right now, you only listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have money. You don't have money, you don't have wealth, you don't have children, you don't have anyone with you. You only listen to me, you can hear the voice. That's the only thing you perceive right now. That's how the life is. If you don't understand life, then you think that you are a being and you have everything. You have a fantastic life. That's how you think if you don't understand life. If you understand life, you will see that there's a mind. It's also manifest. And the ego manifests. When the ego manifests, you perceive or you experience a being. When you think that you are a being, then you feel all three times, the past, the present, and the future. When you experience these three times, then you believe that you live in these three times. You lived in your past, and you are living right now, and you will live in the future. Then you will have these three times. Then you think that you are a being. If I say that, no, you are not a being, you are just a mind, you are just a process of energy. This is only a perception. This is only consciousness. You are only consciousness. If I say that, you don't believe that because you feel three times. And you can remember your past. Then you think that that's your past. You can remember something. You think that you can remember your past. Therefore you strongly believe that you are a being. It's really difficult for me to change that. If I can change it today, you will become a Sri mentor. That is the hardest part in Buddhism. To make someone a Sri mentor. That is the hardest part. If you can jump over that hurdle, you will attain Nibbana very soon. That is the hardest part. To overcome that hurdle, we need to understand this. We need to understand and we need to practice. To overcome that hurdle. If we talk about consciousness, let me draw it. I use Pali terms. This is consciousness, Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara Vijñāna. This is consciousness. I think you have learnt about this. This is consciousness. Whose consciousness is this? Whose consciousness? Yours? A dog's, a cat's, a ghost, demon, whoever. This is consciousness, ladies and gentlemen. You can't separate this. This is consciousness. This is universal. This is consciousness. Wherever it occurs, it is the same. In the Buddha, in an Arahant, in a human being, normal human being, a dog. Consciousness is the same. Right now, consciousness manifests with the help of your body. Therefore, consciousness manifests, consciousness manifests, consciousness manifests. There is an ant here, consciousness manifests. If you can hear this voice, that is consciousness. But when you hear this voice, I'm not talking to you. Actually, I'm not talking to you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just talking. Let's assume that I'm just talking, I'm just speaking. But when you hear this voice, I think you experience that the voice belongs to you. That's why you always say, I heard it. When I can ask, can you hear me? And what did you say? Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Now you can see that consciousness occurs. But how do you say that I can hear you? I heard it. If you heard it, that should be different. Because you heard it. When you say this, you all see blue color. You all see blue color, then how can you say that I saw blue color? That blue color is mine. I saw it. That is not consciousness, ladies and gentlemen. Perceiving blue color is consciousness. Hearing this sound, hearing this voice is consciousness. But that's not your consciousness. But you always experience that as your consciousness. You heard that. You saw that. I saw that. That's how you always think. That means there is another process that occurs. You can see that this is consciousness, and there is another process. That's the process of defilement. That manifests ego. That is the problem. That is the problem, ladies and gentlemen. That is the problem. If you can only experience this, you will be okay. Because here you have everything what you need. What do you want? When you live, actually what do you want, ladies and gentlemen? Tell me. Assume that I'm God. Okay, I'm going to give you whatever you ask. What do you want? Perhaps you may say that I want a wife, better one. Okay, I want a wife. Then I would ask, for what? Then you will say, to see. That means you need to see. But you ask for a wife. You ask for a wife, but actually you ask for a wife to see. That means you want to see. Then I want to hear her voice, sweet voice. Yeah, that means again you want to hear. That means in this case you can see, you want to see, you want to hear, you want to taste, you want to touch, you want to smell, and you want to think. Apart from that, you don't need anything. With that, you want to act and you want to talk. Apart from that, what do you want? Tell me. Assume that I'm God. I'm going to give you. Apart from that, what do you want, ladies and gentlemen? And apart from that, what do you do? You always act, you always think, you always talk. Apart from that, you don't have any other action in your life. And you experience the world. That's it. If you have any other wanting, please tell me. Now you can see that you don't have any other wanting. You only need these things, ladies and gentlemen. Then if you only need these things, what I said before, this is enough. If you want to see this, look at this. Then you will see. Look at this. Rupa is created. Form is created first. Form is formed. That's this rupa, blue color. Blue color is not in this pen. This has only dye. The color is created in your mind. That is the first step. The color is created in your mind. Now the color is created. Now color is there. Then it notifies. That means you can see. Vedana means you can see. If you take a color, you see it. If you take a sound, you hear it. That's called Vedana. If you take a touch is also created in your mind, ladies and gentlemen. When you touch this, actually you can't touch this one. You don't feel this. You only feel your nerve system. Touch is created in your mind. If you don't have a mind, you can't experience touch. Therefore, if you want to feel something, again, Rupa must be created. And to feel smell, then again, you smell it, that means Vedana occurs. After that, Sanya occurs. That means identification or recognition. Then finally, you need to get the resultant effect of these three. Then Sankara does that. Then finally, you perceive it. Then if you want to see your wife, if you want to see your husband, if you want to see your children, that's what you do. You just look at them. Then look at me, then you will see something. When you look at me, finally you will see, first of all, you will see, not you will see, actually first of all, Rupa is created in your mind, then you will see that. You will see that and you will recognize it, finally you will perceive it. Now my question is, what do you want apart from that? Do you want to cry when you look at me? You don't need. You just want to see, that's enough. Do you want to be vexed by looking at me? No. Do you want to suffer by looking at me? No. That means you only need to perceive, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let's be okay with that then. Then why are you suffering? Well, you can see that suffering is not there. Vexation is not there. Lamentation is not there. Whatever the words you use for unhappiness, and actually that's unhappiness or vexation. You have many words. Anxiety. You have many words. There are many negative words than positive words, I think. That means the mind is suffering. But you can't see suffering in there. Then this is enough. Let's be okay with that. Are you? Are you okay with that, ladies and gentlemen? Then if you're okay with that, then we will show you the path to get rid of the other thing. If you are not okay with that, then if you really want to cry, or if you really want a drama in your life, by perceiving that I am the mother, and these are my children, they are mine, not yours. This is my wealth. I'm rich, I'm richer than you. I hate you, I love you. They hate me, they love me. They love me, therefore I love them. They hate me, I hate them. That's drama in your life. Do you really need that drama? If you really need that drama, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue. Otherwise, let's eradicate this part. Let's keep this. When you have this, you will perceive everything. You will experience everything what you have experienced except suffering, vexation. You need to take the decision. You need to make the decision. If you can actually make this decision and work towards it, then definitely you will be only consciousness. That's happiness. That's the kingdom of heaven. That's Nibbana. That's your salvation. Whatever word you use, that's it. It starts with ignorance. You know that. Ignorance. Then attachment. Now you can see that when attachment, or when you get attached to something, then you are restless. You have experienced your life. You know that. You are restless and you try to achieve that, you try to acquire that. First of all, you need the attachment. When you have that attachment, you have a wanting. When you have a wanting, you are vexed. You know what happens to you after that. Then if you go to your home, if you see all the things you have acquired so far, you can experience, or you can at least you can identify your vexation, your experiences. You have acquired everything, what you wanted. That means you got attached to those things before you acquired them. Therefore, when we see your wealth, we can't say, oh, you have been prosperous. Actually, we can say that you have been vexed. You wanted many things. You felt so inferior. That's why you have gathered a lot. You wanted to be superior. You were restless at that time. Therefore, you wanted to acquire and you wanted to own things and say to others that I have these things, I'm superior than you. That's how you got a good education. That's how you got few PhDs. Perhaps you will get another one. Because you want to be superior. Therefore you acquire things, always. I think you didn't stop it yet. You will acquire many things. Perhaps tomorrow you will acquire another one. Perhaps when you go back, you will acquire something. When you see, and if you get attached to that, then you will acquire it. If you can't acquire that, you feel so inferior. You think that, oh, I don't have money. I want that, but I don't have it. Then you feel so inferior. You feel so inferior means, ladies and gentlemen, actually the ego feels so inferior. I told you, this doesn't have superiority or inferiority. This doesn't have anything. You can see that this is only consciousness. This perceives things. But the ego has all these problems, all these dramas. Because the ego acts as a being. Therefore, actually, you are good actors and actresses. You can act like human beings, exactly like human beings. Can you see that? Otherwise, you are only consciousness, but you act as a human being. If you take a small child, he or she doesn't need a class, acting classes. They can act as a human being. The ego is well trained, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, you always think that you are a being. Because of this, the ego thinks that it's a being, not consciousness. The ego thinks that it's a being. That's why you always feel that you are a being and you behave like that and you act like that. That's why you feel superior and inferior. That's why you try to come out of these things. Always try to maintain your superiority. By doing that, perhaps you harm others. When I say you, I'm not only talking to you. you means everyone. Whoever listens to this sermon, not now, perhaps in the future as well. Then you always feel, you always want to keep your superiority. In order to do so, perhaps people hurt others to maintain that superiority. Consciousness doesn't do that. Consciousness is pure, ladies and gentlemen. That is called the kingdom of heaven. That is called Nibbana. Then if you want to enter the kingdom of heaven, there is a path. If you want to attain Nibbana, there is a path. Somehow we need to eradicate this process. I said this process, not the ego. We can't just say that we need to eradicate the ego. Actually, we need to eradicate, we can say that we need to eradicate the ego. That means actually we need to cease the process of the ego. If we can cease this process, we won't have any issue in our life. That means we can achieve happiness by eradicating this ego, which means actually if we can cease the process, then you will come to your destination. If we can cease the process. To cease the process, you should understand something. To cease the process, you always need to take refuge in the Buddha. Today, I want to discuss it with you. How to take, or when to take refuge in the Buddha. If you can take refuge in the Buddha, you can eradicate this. That means you will enter the kingdom of heaven. To do so, you need to mourn. Are you ready to mourn? Let's mourn together. Do you have your handkerchief? Let's mourn. You need to mourn. Because blessed are those who mourn, and they shall be comforted. They shall be definitely comforted, ladies and gentlemen. But the problem is, can you mourn? When someone dies, you mourn. I'm not talking about that mourning. You should mourn. You should know how to mourn, first of all. If I can make you mourn today, you will take the refuge in the Buddha. If you can mourn every day, if you can mourn each time, you will take refuge in the Buddha each time. That's what you need to do. If you don't mourn, if you think that you have a very successful life, then you don't mourn. If you don't mourn, you don't need refuge. You are not a refugee anymore. But I want you to feel that you are a refugee in samsara. I want you to feel that you are destitute. I want you to feel that you need something. You need a hand to hold, a voice to guide. I want you to feel that. But if you think that, no, I have everything, I'm so happy, then you don't have a problem. But if you have a problem, you should understand that problem. Let me help you to understand this problem. You have a problem, ladies and gentlemen, but perhaps the ego doesn't want to agree with that. You have a problem. You have a problem, you always try to find the solution. You didn't find it yet, but you try to find your solution. That's why you always associate with various types of people. That's why you always associate with books. You try to find a solution. Perhaps you don't know the problem, but you try to find a solution because you can experience a problem. You can experience a problem, therefore you try to find a solution, but still you couldn't find. But in this discussion, if we can find your problem and if you can start mourning, that will be a huge victory in your life. Let's come to attachment and wanting. I'll use only W. Attachment and wanting. When you get attached to something, you have a wanting. When you have a wanting, you always vexed. Then you always feel vexation, ladies and gentlemen. When you are vexed, you try to come out of vexation. When you try to come out of vexation, you do something and you achieve something. If you wanted to be a doctor, now you wanted to be a doctor. No? You wanted to be a doctor. Then you were vexed. Then you work hard. And finally you became a doctor. Now you can see that. That means when you have vexation, you know how to come out of vexation. How many methods do you know to come out of vexation? There are millions, ladies and gentlemen. You can find anyone. You can associate with someone and ask, then he will tell you how to come out of vexation. Because that's the only thing worldly people know. Because they are always vexed. They are always vexed and they can't stop that. And when they are vexed, they try to come out of vexation and they invent new methods. You have a phone with you. That's a good method to come out of vexation. When you have a problem, watch a movie. If you can't pay your rent, then watch a movie. Then you can forget it for 2.5 hours or 1.5 hours. Then finally your house owner will come and drill your head. But still you watch a movie and you had a solution for 1.5 hours. That's how it is. That's why every day you have problems, you didn't solve anyone. You postpone them. By watching something, by associating with something. Therefore, now you have many issues, you have many problems, but you can't see any solution. You use methods, but still, these methods are useless. But people don't know any other methods. They only know how to come out of vexation because they think that vexation is fixed in the mind. We are human beings, therefore definitely we must vex. We must be vexed. That's how people think. Now when you suffer, what do you think? Would you be amazed when you suffer? Oh, suffering is created. How? No. Because you have heard and you have been taught that suffering is created. We suffer because we are human beings. We are human beings, therefore we should experience suffering, happiness, everything. Life is tell me, you know that. Life is a roller coaster. We always experience all these things. That's how we feel, ladies and gentlemen. That's how we have been taught. That's why I told you we have been deceived. Therefore, we don't care about suffering. We don't care about vexation. We know that belongs to our life. Vexation doesn't belong to our life, ladies and gentlemen, because you can see that our life is this. This is the life. The life. This is so special. We all have that. This is the Buddha. We all have that. Therefore, if you suffer or if you feel happiness, suddenly if you feel happiness, then you should be amazed. How can it happen? Because the mind is neutral. You can't be happy or you can't be vexed. If you are vexed or if you are happy, you have a problem. Because you are happy because you came out of vexation. You just came out of vexation. That's why you feel happiness or that's why you feel pleasure. Otherwise, This is the mind. This is serene. If you can experience this, you never go back to the other world, ladies and gentlemen. You never go back to hell. But right now, you only experience hell. But the kingdom of heaven is within you. If we can eradicate this, that means if we can eradicate the process of hell, I would say this is the ego, but I would say this is hell. This makes a hell out of your life, out of your very life, very pure life. This is it. You should experience this one day, at least for a second. If you can experience this, I would say that you are a successful person. Otherwise, no matter how much money you have, no matter how many degrees you have, you are not a successful person. Because you always suffer. You always suffer. If you take the richest person in the world, they die empty-handed. You know that. Because no one puts money into their coffins. No one can take it with them. That's why I told you, right now, you don't have anything because you only experience my voice. My voice means this sound. You only experience this sound. You can't remember your family even. Not remember, actually. You don't have a family right now. Right now, what you have is a sound. Therefore, you can say that I'm the richest person because I have a sound. How is that? You are the richest person. You are the most educated person because now you can hear sound. Apart from that, show me what you have. Look at this and show me what you have. Concentrate on this, please. Concentrate on this. Now tell me what you have. What do you have? Nothing but this. This color is created in your mind. That's it. You bear the color. You don't bear your family. You don't bear your wealth. You don't bear anything. You only bear this color, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, even though you are the richest person in the world, if you concentrate on this, you will only have this. But the ego thinks that, oh, I had an account. Because the ego wants to create 3 times. The past, the present, and the future. Then you had an account. There you had few billions. Therefore now you think that I have. Whenever that idea comes to you, that thought comes to your mind, you can feel that you are a rich person. Otherwise, actually what you feel is you are a person who's seeing or perceiving blue color. But you will always feel that you are a person because the ego is created. When the ego is created, you always perceive that you are a being, which means now you are a person because you are not an animal. Are you? Are you with me, ladies and gentlemen, or are you falling asleep? Are you a human being? Yeah? That's how you experience. If I talk about this ant, that this ant experience that it's a being, again it's an animal. You always feel that or experience that you are a human being. Therefore you are a person now. You always feel that you are a person, and when you can remember your children, now you are the mother. That means the mother person, like rich person and poor person and educated person, like mother kind of person. You will feel that. But concentrate on this. How many children do you have? How many children do you have? Concentrate on this place. Now tell me, how many children do you have? None. What about your family? What family? My family is blue. Because you only perceive blue, ladies and gentlemen. You only perceive blue. You have an account in whatever the bank, you open up an account, but you can't use them. Can you understand what I'm saying? I want you to cry. No? You don't feel anything? Perhaps I have to use tear gas then. Even though you think that you have everything, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to say that you have nothing. You only have this. I help you to live. You should thank me. Because I help you to think. Concentrate on this. Look, I give you a life, which means I help you to perceive something. This is the only thing you have right now. Even though you have a plenty of money in your pocket, right now, in your pocket, but you can't use them, you can't own them, because the mind can't own any other thing than colors, sounds, taste, so on. But the ego can use other things. I have money. I am the richest. I am richer than you. I am so superior than you. I am so happy because I am so superior than you. If I am overwhelmed by the ego, I can say that you have money, but I am more spiritual than you. Because somehow we need to find, the ego always finds something to be superior. Therefore, sometimes when you see some people, you go, oh, he is rich, I know that. Anyone can be rich, but we are educated. We are well educated. Yeah. They are not educated. They have money, but we have knowledge. That's how. You can say that you are so spiritual, you can say that you are so rich, richer than others. That's how it is. Now you can see, even though you think that you have everything, but you don't have anything, you have nothing with you. When you die, what will you have? The last thought. Let's assume that someone is dying, not you. Someone is dying. Then when I ask him or her to concentrate on this, then the last thing he possesses is blue. With that, he will die. What happened to his money and possessions? Will he come back? Perhaps. By being perhaps a ghost. But let's leave that part. But what happened to his possessions? He thought that he has acquired many things. But you can see that you are the mind, ladies and gentlemen, you can't acquire anything. If you can see this truth, you don't try. You don't try to acquire possessions in the earth. If you are a Christian, you may know these things. I found these things from various books, holy books. Fantastic ideas. If you can understand the truth, you never acquire things in the earth, ladies and gentlemen, or on the earth. You make your treasure in the kingdom of heaven. That means you use your time to make a treasure in the kingdom of heaven. But right now, you have made a treasure on the earth, but you can't touch it. You can't associate with it. You can't use it. Even though you want to bear it, you can't. if you can, try. If you can be successful, you win and I lose. I show you this. Try to keep this blue color in your mind for half a second. Okay? Ready? Ready? Try to keep it. Can you see the blue color? Can you see the blue color? No, it's gone. Let's try again. Do you have it right now? If you can't keep blue color, how can you keep a whole lot of money, ladies and gentlemen? Again, if you are the ego, you can be satisfied that I have money, I have wealth and everything. I'm not insulting you or I'm not criticizing you by being rich, ladies and gentlemen. Can you understand that? I want you to understand this, that's it. Because people think that when they are well off, they are successful. That no one can be successful in this world. With their possessions. If you can make a treasure in the kingdom of heaven, you are a successful person. You are the most successful person. But do you have time to make a treasure in the kingdom of heaven? Do you have time? If you have time, please come and join with us. Come to the monastery. Because we practice to create a treasure in the kingdom of heaven. But you are busy to make a treasure on the earth. But what happened to the treasure? If you gather things on the earth, what happens? It decays. It destroys. It rots. Animals will eat it. It will destroy it by fire. It will be destroyed by water. Something happened to it. Perhaps it will be stolen. It will be taken forcefully by someone, like kings. But you used your life, which means you use your time to gather all these things. Don't you? You use your life, which means, because time is an illusion. Time is not true. Time is an illusion. You always spend your life. Don't think that you spend your time. You always spend your life. That means you have spent your life and you acquired many things that you can't use, that you can't even touch. That's why you are destitute. You need all these things because these are my possessions. That's how you always feel. These are my possessions. Let me have my possessions. Just assume that someone is on his deathbed. Now, he can't leave his possessions because he didn't create any treasure in the kingdom of heaven. He can't take anything with him. He's so destitute. Then finally, only thing he has to say is, give me my possessions, and dies. Let's assume that you are so kind and you give his possessions to him. You give some papers to him. He owns many things and you give those papers to him. Oh, okay, take it. Can he take it with him? No, ladies and gentlemen. He only feels when you give. Let's assume this. You have a paper worth of, or let's assume money. You have a note, perhaps 500 rupees, Are there any notes now? 500 rupee notes? Okay. And 1,000. Then you give these 2 notes to someone to touch. Oh, I will give you these 2 notes to touch. Can you feel 500 rupees when you touch it? You just experience a touch. Or you experience 500 rupees. No, you only experience touch, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I told you. You don't have anything apart from this. This is real and this is an illusion. When the ego associates with something, that's an illusion. Conceptual. That's why I told you that is the hardest part to understand. You don't have anyone in your life. So when I say that, you think that, oh, this is so negative, I don't want to hear this sermon because this is so negative. If I don't have anyone in my life, I am so alone, I can't live in this world, I don't want to listen to this sermon. But the problem is, until you understand this, you only experience illusions. Yourself is an illusion. You feel yourself, you experience yourself, which means you experience existence. Your existence, that existence itself is an illusion. Let's assume that if this is an illusion, if this associates with this, what about this? Is this an illusion or is this true? I need your answer. If this is an illusion and if this associates with this, isn't this an illusion? This is also an illusion. If this is an illusion, this is also an illusion. Therefore, if the ego is an illusion, whatever you associate with so far, whatever you have associated with so far, illusions. Does that make sense to you? If I say that your son is an illusion, your daughter is an illusion, then will you agree with me or will you be angry with me? That means I'm not a mother. Yeah, you are a mother in conceptual world. Because the ego has created a conceptual world and you can be in there and become a mother. Then you can think that I have my children. But if you come to the reality, you are only consciousness. Can you name the wife of consciousness? Perhaps consciousness C? What about children then? Consciousness 2, like Charles 2. Consciousness 3. Only consciousness, ladies and gentlemen. But if you come to the elusive world, you are a mother, you are a father, and you have many titles. Sometimes you are a father, sometimes you are the uncle. Can you imagine that? Are you a father or son? Are you the father or the son? Tell me the truth. Tell me exactly. I'll stop this sermon. Now you can see that in this elusive world, you are no one, but you are everyone. But when you come to consciousness, you are consciousness, just consciousness. You don't have child, you don't have a child, you don't have any wealth, you don't have anything, ladies and gentlemen. You are just consciousness. When I ask you to focus on this, you are black. When I ask you to concentrate on this, you are blue. When you hear this sound, you are the sound. Therefore, you don't have any problem, you don't have any issue. But if you are the ego, now you have many issues because you have to look after your family. But you have to look after your family anyway. But you don't have to worry about that. But you always worry plus look after your family. You can't stop worrying about it. Now you can't stop having many desires after that. Because when you feel so inferior, you are open. You are open to new ideas. You always want to get new ideas because you feel so inferior, because you know that some superior people, or there are some superior people than you. Therefore, you always need to find new ideas to be superior. That means you always get new views. You associate with people, associate with books, associate with movies, associate with songs, and you try to get new views. Through all these views, you get new desires, new goals, new dreams, new wantings. When you have new wantings, you are vexed, and again you need to come out of vexation. Then you are so busy to acquire things. When you are busy to acquire things, you don't have time to create a treasure in the kingdom of heaven. Because the kingdom of heaven doesn't come to you, you have to go to the kingdom of heaven. To go to the kingdom of heaven, you don't have to die, you know that. That's why you don't die. If you believe in heaven, why don't you die, ladies and gentlemen? Because this life is not happiness. You know that. You don't experience happiness, and you know that this is a terrible life. Then why don't you commit suicide at least? And if you believe in heaven, and after this, if you go to heaven, then why don't you commit suicide? Well, you know that. You know that. Perhaps it can be, probably, and there's a probability. Perhaps there is no heaven or something like that. But you definitely know that the kingdom of heaven exists. You definitely know that, because if you can focus on this, you are black. This is it. Therefore, consciousness is the kingdom of heaven. Then if you know that consciousness is the kingdom of heaven, then why don't you try? Why don't you try to achieve that, ladies and gentlemen? If you can try, then you will be happy forever. Happy forever means you will be neutral. You won't have any vexation. You don't have any happiness or pleasure. Your life won't be a roller coaster. Your life will be a serene lake, I would say. Because then you don't want to look at something. You don't want to perceive anything, but you perceive something. You don't want, but right now you want. If you want to perceive this, and I can make your life a hell. How? You want to perceive this, but I won't show you. I won't show this to you, but you want to perceive this. Then you have to plead for this. Please show us. Please, please. Then I can ask for you to do many things. Then you will do that because you are vexed. That's what you have done in your life. And that's what you make other people do. Because they have wantings. You know that if you run a business, you know that they have wantings. Then if you can give them many wantings, that means if you can give them many views and let them be vexed, then you can use their life to be successful or have a successful business. That's what people do. That's why you can remember all advertisements. You can remember them. You can remember them when you watch television, then you always see them. And when you see them, you are vexed because you get those views. You think that, yes, that's the best. That's the best. Because you can see them with a smile. When you see a smile, you are deceived. Because you think that he's a happy person. He found happiness. Therefore, you try to observe that view. Therefore, if you want to say something, if you want someone to follow you, you have to tell that with a smile. If I say that Nibbana is so beautiful, when I say that with smile, what do you believe? Oh, he found that. Look at his face. He always wears a smile. That means, oh, he is happy. Actually, you are always deceived by a smile. Therefore, you always try to take that view or observe that view and be vexed again. Because of that, you don't have time to purify your mind or to cease the process of defilement and enter the kingdom of heaven. So far you couldn't do that. I don't ask about your age. I don't ask that. You know. You know the answer. But you couldn't achieve it yet. Don't you mourn now? If you mourn, you shall be filled. Sorry, you shall be comforted. If you mourn. You should mourn when you are vexed. When you are vexed, you have two paths now. One is coming out of vexation. That's the first part. That's the path you used to use. The other part is you can eradicate the process of vexation. That means you can reverse the process or you can cease the process. Here you can see that vexation occurs. Vexation is not fixed. With the wanting, the mind is vexed. Now you have two paths. You can choose. But the thing is, the first path is the easiest path. Coming out of vexation, because you have knowledge. You have knowledge and it is instant. You can come out of vexation quickly. If you want to look at this, or if you want to watch a movie, if you have a television. Just imagine that. You have a television, you have movies. Now you are vexed to watch a movie. What do? You watch a movie, or you come to the monastery and meet a monk and discuss the Dhamma and reverse the process. What do? What do you prefer to do, ladies and gentlemen? It's the first one, because that's easy. That's easy. That's why I told you, if you mourn, you will take refuge of the Buddha. If you see that this is a problem, then you will take refuge in the Buddha. In this case, try to understand that when you are vexed, you have two paths. One is coming out of vexation. The other one is ceasing the process. To cease the process, you need the Dhamma. You need the Dhamma, you need the noble friend, you need noble friends, noble association. To cease the process, you can cease it. If you can eradicate ignorance, the process is ceased. Now you won't feel any vexation anymore. The problem is sorted. But that is hard. You are not experienced in that path. Therefore, you always try to move forward. You try to coming out of vexation. If you want to watch a movie, you watch a movie. If you want to sing a song, you sing a song. If you want to listen to a song, you listen to a song. But if you come to the monastery, like if you have a life, or if you have a monastic life, you can't do that. You need to follow the Buddha, because you have to take refuge in the Buddha. If you have taken refuge in the Buddha, you can't follow this path, ladies and gentlemen. That's why at the beginning I told you, you have to take refuge in the Buddha every time. That's what we do. Because this is the path of the Buddha This is the path of Mara. This is Mara, and this is the Buddha. You can choose. If you follow this, you will stay in this world. You will suffer forever. Even though you don't have anything, even though you only have your perceptions, you can enter into the conceptual world and be the mother or the father or Mr. President, whoever, then you can be there. Be there forever, and you will be vexed, and you will be suffering, and you will experience all these things. The other thing is, the other path is the Buddha's path. If you follow the Buddha's path, it's hard. You don't have experience, or you haven't experienced it yet. Therefore, it's so hard. But you have teachers. You are not alone. You have teachers. You associate with teachers. You associate with the Dhamma. You associate with the Sangha. Then you will practice the path. You will develop patience. Because when you have a wanting, you should be patient. But do you have that patience in you? Today, can you do that? If you want something, can you be patient and stay without achieving it? When you go back, you want to eat kottu, or you want to eat something. Can you stop yourself? You want, but you don't use it. Can you decide that, no, I don't use that, I will follow the Buddha's path. I will be a disciple of the Buddha. If you want to become a disciple of the Buddha, you should have one thing in your mind, ladies and gentlemen. You should follow the path of the Buddha. There are two paths. One is the path of Mara, the other one is the path of the Buddha. If you follow this, you will attain Nibbana, you will enter the kingdom of heaven. If you follow this, you will stay in this world and you will suffer forever. Choice is yours. You can choose this, whatever you want. That's why the Buddha always asks us to choose things, because we are responsible for happiness and suffering, everything. If you are vexed, you are responsible for that, because mental suffering is not inevitable. It is optional. If you want to suffer, you can choose and suffer. If you choose this path, which is easy, you will suffer forever. If you can't be patient, if you can't develop patience, if you can't tolerate, then you will definitely follow this. And if you don't have noble companionship, you will definitely follow this. Because someone should be there to guide you, ladies and gentlemen. Someone should be there to teach you, actually force you to move forward. Because you are not ready. Because you can't mourn. Because when you suffer or when you are vexed, at the same time, by your action, you will experience pleasure. Therefore, the ego wants to think, the ego prefers to think that the world is pleasurable. Therefore, the ego doesn't want to mourn. That's why Jesus Christ asks you to mourn. Blessed are those who mourn. If someone is crying, how can you say that he is blessed? When you cry, when you mourn, someone comes to you and says, you are blessed because you mourn, you cry. Oh, what a wonderful thing, you cry. That means it has a deeper meaning. The deeper meaning is, if you mourn about what has happened to you, you will be comforted. That means you will follow the path. You will do something. You will do something to come out of this. You will find a path. You will seek for a path. Then only will you find a path, let's say, Janma. If you seek for a path. Now there is a path. This is the path. That means when you have a wanting, not the need I'm talking about. If you have a need, you need to do something. If you have to pay your rent, then do that. If you have to eat something, if you have to drink something to quench your thirst, then do that. That's totally fine. But if you want something special, that means actually you want it. If you want something, can you be patient? Can you tolerate that? Without using that, you tolerate it, but you know you are vexed at that time, then use the Dhamma to reverse the path, reverse the process, which means to cease the process. If you can use the Dhamma, definitely you can cease the process, because you can see here. This occurs due to ignorance. Ignorance means the mind is ignorant. But if you can use the Dhamma, you can enlighten your mind. If you can enlighten your mind, no ignorance. There is no ignorance. Therefore the path is ceased. Now if you don't have a path, path means the process is ceased. If you don't have the process, then you won't experience the ego. You will only experience this. But that is so difficult. If you want to try once and see. When you want something, don't go for that. Feel vexation, then mourn and take refuge in the Buddha. Be determined. You know that this is not a fool's errand. We are talking about salvation, Lesachan. Do you know about salvation? Salvation. This is not O levels, OA levels. We are talking about salvations. Salvations forever. If you can achieve this will be your last battle. But no one is ready for that. Otherwise, you will have many battles in your life. Many battles. And you should understand that this is hard. This is very hard. That's why you need noble association. That's why we always ask you to come and associate with noble people. Then they will help you to move forward. They will guide you to move forward. They will discuss the Dhamma with you, out of compassion, essentially. Out of compassion. If you come to the monastery, we have to feed you. Yeah? We have to feed you. We have to look after. If something happens to you, then we have to take you to the hospital. When you come to the monastery, we had to supply all these services, and we had to preach to you, and we had to guide you. We had to do all these things. But we ask you to come here. Why? Are we going mad? No, because this is the only way. This is the only way. Please don't misunderstand me. This is the only way. If you really want to attain Nibbana, you need noble association. You need that. Someone should be there to guide you. You need to discuss the Dhamma, ladies and gentlemen. You need to understand the Dhamma. If you can understand the Dhamma, you can be enlightened at that point. This is so hard, I'm telling you, this is so hard. Otherwise we can say that, oh, this is so easy, come to the monastery. Oh, actually you don't have to come to the monastery. Wake up early in the morning and sit somewhere and start meditating. You can do that easily if you jog first and come home, and then you can do that easily because it will be very deep. But that doesn't solve your problem. You have to eradicate ignorance somehow. If you know any other methods, please let us know. You have to eradicate ignorance. You have to destroy the environment of attachment. If attachment is created, actually attachment is created. If attachment is created, now you will suffer. Because attachment is the main cause of the ego. The Buddha said suffering. The Buddha said suffering, not to suffering, ladies and gentlemen. The Buddha said suffering to the ego. Not mental pain he was talking about. The ego he was talking about. Ego is created due to attachment. The attachment is the main cause. Attachment is created in the environment of ignorance. Therefore, if you can associate with the Dhamma, that environment is destroyed. That environment destroys all the time if you are with the Dhamma. That's why the Buddha always asks us to be with the Dhamma, associate with the Dhamma, always contemplate the Dhamma, listen to the Dhamma, contemplate with the Dhamma, discuss the Dhamma. Dhamma means, again, that is righteousness. Dhamma is righteousness. Dhamma is not what someone preaches, ladies and gentlemen. Dhamma is righteousness. Then you need to find righteousness first. Perhaps you think that, no, we know righteousness. We help others, that's righteousness. No, that's not righteousness, that's goodness. We hate others, that's righteousness according to us. No, it's not. That is, again, badness. Goodness and badness is not righteousness. Righteousness is the truth of the world. Truth. There is only, how many? Only one truth. How many falsehoods, ladies and gentlemen? How many? Infinite number of falsehoods. Therefore, if you want to get a noble view, how many noble views are there? Only one noble view. If you want to be righteous, there is only one way. There is only one view. You need to get that view. That is the truth of the world. The Buddha said, anicca, dukkha, anatta. It doesn't change with a person. It doesn't change with time. That's why the Buddha said, the Buddha's Dhamma is akalika. It explains, I would use that word, akalikatve. If you want, you can. That means everything is akalika. If you want, you can say the timelessness, but the meaning of akalika is, if something is akalika, time is not applied. If time is not applied, if time is not applicable, that is called akalika. If this is akalika, time is not applicable. To manifest, we need some causes. When causes come together, an effect manifests. You know that. Time is not a cause. Then I use akalika now. I use that word, akalika. The Buddha's Dhamma is akalika. Because it doesn't vary. It doesn't change. Dhamma doesn't change. The Dhamma doesn't change, ladies and gentlemen, because that's the truth. That is righteousness. You have to be righteous all the time. Can you be righteous all the time? How can you be righteous all the time? I'm not asking you to be good all the time. Being a good person is so easy, but being a righteous person is so hard. I'm telling you. It's so hard. Being righteous is so hard. Being a good person, yes, it's so easy. You can help someone, now you are a good person. If you want to become a bad person, then you hit someone, then yes, then you are a bad person. But to be righteous, you have to be with nature. To be with nature, you need to identify, you need to learn all the characteristics of nature. The Buddha found them. If someone can find those characteristics, he is the Buddha. If you can find it, you are the Buddha. But normal people can't find it. The Buddha became enlightened to understand that. Then he saw those natural characteristics. That is righteousness. Then be anicca. Can you remember at the beginning? I told you, you have knowledge. You know the Dhamma. But I want you to be the Dhamma. Can you remember that? Dhamma, if you take the Dhamma, that's anicca. Anicca is the Dhamma. Dukkha is the Dhamma. Anatta is the Dhamma. Now, if you want to experience consciousness, you have to be the Dhamma. That means you should be anicca. Can you be anicca, ladies and gentlemen? Then how can you be anicca if you have only knowledge? You know anicca, you can explain, you can do a sermon, you can preach to someone about anicca. But are you anicca? Again, that's one of your possessions. I have anicca. Yeah, I think you all have anicca because you have a great teacher, and he has been preaching to you. I think now it is 101, 102 actually, because last week our Maitri Thero did the sermon. It was a great sermon. I also listened to that. That means you have learnt a lot. I always discuss with him. I always ask, how can we help them? Because last time I saw you all, you are so devoted. You have a pure heart. We really want to help you. But you have an excuse. Distance and busyness. Then actually, I'm going to make a monastery next to your house. Will you come, please? Will you come? Or will you be busy at that time? No, ladies and gentlemen, if you start mourning, you will do this. Because I was mourning. When I understood this, I was mourning. I collapsed completely because I came to know that I have lost half, perhaps quarter of my life. I acquired many things at that time, but when I came to know that I don't own anything, I can't even touch them. This is only a conceptual world. This is only an illusion. I collapsed completely. Then I was comforted. No, I don't have any problem now. I don't have anything because I don't make any treasure on the earth. I only took this just to live. When I die, just before I die, I hand this over. I will hand this over to monks. Look, I don't have anything. But I have a big treasure, ladies and gentlemen, a gigantic treasure. Where? In the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, no one can hurt me. People can accuse. That's what people do. The ego always wants to accuse other people. People always accuse us for something. We just need to say, is that so? Then they will praise us. Again, is that so? That's how the ego. If we know about the ego, we don't have any problem. Because we know that this is the most stupid thing in the world. Then if a mad person, a madman, a mad person, look, I can't use madman. Then perhaps ladies will think that you always use man. Why don't you use woman for this at least? Don't you ask that? If you know that someone is mad, you don't care. You don't care means even though he or she blames you, you don't care because you know that he is mad. You know that he is unconscious. We know that everyone is unconscious. Unconscious means not faint, unconscious. They don't have this. They only have this. This is consciousness. If you can experience this, you are conscious. Otherwise, you are unconscious. You have to take in that sense. If you are unconscious, then you don't know what you do, what you tell, because the mind is vexed. The mind tries to come out of vexation. To come out of vexation, it does anything. If we know that, why do we bother? That's why we never blame anyone. We never accuse anyone. Listen to our sermons. Now I have been preaching to you nearly 1.5 hours. Did I blame anyone? Did I accuse anyone? No. I like to preach to you, because when I preach to you, whether you can understand or not, I can understand, and it helps me to build a treasure, my treasure. Therefore I preach to everyone. Whoever comes to me, I preach. Perhaps they understand, perhaps they don't understand. Then, but if you can't understand today, you come tomorrow and try to understand that. This is how it is. But however, you should choose this. You should choose this and you should practice. If you don't practice, you will only have anicca. You will only have dukkha. You will only have anatta. You will have them. You can talk about them, you can preach to others, you will have them, but that's not enough. You have to be them. You have to be the truth. I'll show you how to be the truth. First of all, you have to take, or you have to observe, not precepts. You have to observe views. You have to observe the noble view. That is, anicca, dukkha, anatta. You have to know about them, and you should be able to put that into your life. That means you should understand it properly, and you should be able to put it into your life of life experiences. That's the first thing you should do. Then you should keep doing that. When you keep doing that, one day you will become the truth. First, you have to listen. Sunatha, you have to listen. Then you have to bear it. You have to hold it. You have to bear it in your mind. That means over and over you need to use that. That means you need to put that into your life experiences and experience it. Dharet, then charat, you need to keep practicing. Listen, bear, practice. Listen, practice. It doesn't work like that. Listen, practice. You don't know what to practice. But some people want to attain Nibbana, and they go to a forest and start meditating. A year later they come and say, I achieved something. I don't believe that. No one can achieve Nibbana without following these steps. Sunatha, dharet, charat. Sunatha, dharet, charat. You listen to it and understand and bear it and practice it. Listen, bear, practice. Now, tell me, what do you do right now? Right now is not right now, these days. What do you do? Listen. Listen, listen, listen. Yeah, good. Good. Listen, listen, listen. You go on Sunday, you listen, and you go back, and you do your own work, and you follow the Mara. Now, if you follow Mara, not if you follow, actually, you follow Mara, because you, I'm sorry to say this, you are a disciple of. But I add something, great Mara. Mm-hmm. Because we need to add something, because you follow him. Actually, you follow him, ladies and gentlemen. Him means, this is also a concept. There is a deity, but let's forget that. This is also a concept, but let's make a man out of that, or woman if you want. Perhaps if he asks from husbands, perhaps yes. Mara should be a woman, perhaps, in this case. Now, you always follow Mara. You came to this world by following Mara. And you always follow Mara until you find the Buddha. You will find the Buddha in the Dhamma. When you find the Buddha, you need to bear the Buddha. You need to bear the Buddha and you need to practice. Then you will be the Buddha. You need to follow these methods, ladies and gentlemen. If you really want to attain Nibbana, this is the path. You can't cut corners. This is the path. Whether you like it or not, this is the path. That's why we always encourage you to do something extra. Otherwise, until you realize this, we will preach to you. Until you realize this. There is a method to practice, but why should I teach you that if you are not ready to practice? If I teach you Satara Satipatthana, will you use it? Will you use it? If we take our Anagarika, so our monks, whoever practice the path, they can't use this. This path is banned in this monastery. You can't use this one. If you have a wanting, you should understand that it's a wanting, and you should understand how the wanting forms, and you should eradicate it, because you should follow the Buddha, because you are a Buddha's disciple. You should be proud. You should be proud to be the Buddha's disciple. What about Mara's disciple? Mara's disciple. That's easy, but that's Mara's disciple. You can choose that. But you need, actually, to follow the path, you should be determined. Otherwise, you will just jump to this. You will jump onto this because this path is so easy and you have been practicing this path, therefore you know all the corners. Therefore you will jump onto this and you will practice this. When there are many teachers, they will teach you how to practice this. Go and meet your friend, then he will tell you how to practice this. She will tell you how to practice this, to follow this. But to follow this, you need the Dhamma, you need that understanding, and then you should start practicing. Then you will move forward, but that also will be hard. Therefore, when they have a wanting, they have to bear, they have to tolerate. When they have a wanting, let's assume that they want to eat something, they don't go to the fridge. They go to their teacher, ladies and gentlemen. That's the difference between Mara's disciples and Buddha's disciples, the Buddha's disciples. When you want to eat something, what do? Where do you go? To your teacher? Or to the kitchen? Or to the shop? Or to the fridge? That's the difference between these followers. When you want something, if you want to eat something, that's fine. When you want something, when you want to eat something, when you need to eat something, that's fine. I'm talking about when you want. Then if you can eradicate your all wantings, you don't need this job, ladies and gentlemen. This money is enough. You have the money you have earned so far, that's enough for your life. But to fulfill your need, fulfill your wantings, I think you need all the money in the world. And some more, actually. All the money in the world and some more. You need. You want them, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, actually your life will be very easy if you can practice, if you can start practicing. Your life will be very easy. We used to spend a lot, but now, I told you, perhaps this is not suitable, because we always tell you to be like us. It's not good because we are monks and we ask lay people to be like us. It's not fair. Don't you think that? But the problem is, you try to go to our destination. Our destination is Nibbana. Then why do you try to go there? Then if you are a lay person, then you should think about other things. That you came to listen to the sermon. Why? Then if I ask, why did you come here? You want to achieve your salvation. Isn't that the truth? Then if you want to achieve your salvation, then there is a path. Only this is the only path. Then you should practice that. You should follow the path. Then you will attain Nibbana. You will achieve your salvation. This is the only way, ladies and gentlemen, whether you like it or not. There are two things. Either you practice, otherwise you change your mind. You change your mind, then no, I don't want to practice the path. I don't want any salvation. This is my salvation. I have enough money. I have enough wealth. I have my family. I'll be looked after. I have good kids. You can think like that, like other people. The other people always satisfy their mind by thinking about their possessions, their family, their children. I have all these things. I don't worry because I have my kids. I know they will look after me. This is how they always say. I think you need something extra. Then if you need something extra, you should be ready to go the extra mile. But I'm not forcing you. I just tell you. If you come next week, I will tell you the same. Until you do that. Until you do that, I will tell you. When you do that, I will tell you Satara Satipatthana and how to practice the path, if you are ready to practice. Otherwise, let's listen and have the Dhamma. You have many possessions, you can add another one. Then you can say, I had n number of possessions, now I have n plus 1. I'm more superior. Am I insulting you? Yes or no? No. I'm not insulting. Yeah? Okay. Then you had n number of possessions. Now you know anicca dukkha anatta and you know Buddhism. Therefore, now, and you are so spiritual than others. Then you have you can add few possessions to your that number. Therefore, now n plus something. That's the only thing you will achieve. But if you practice the path, you will lose all the numbers, ladies and gentlemen. You will be consciousness and you will be happy forever. You will have a serene mindset and you will experience the life. You will experience the life. When I say that, the life, don't you want to achieve that? But I know that you want the cake and eat it too. Because you want to have the cake. I know. You want to keep this life, and perhaps you want to experience both. Perhaps you want to go to Nibbana with your family, with all the possessions. Or perhaps you pray to God, please take me to Nibbana. What a tough nut to crack. Therefore, but we know that because one of the greatest teachers asks us to knock and it shall be opened to you. Therefore, I'm going to keep knocking. Keep knocking onto your head. And one day you will decide, yes, these monks keep knocking and we will listen to him. We will listen to them. And if you can take that decision, at least for a day, ladies and gentlemen, at least for a day, if you can sacrifice one day at least per week, then you will experience something. After that, you will take the other decision. You will make the other. You will make some decisions after that. But right now, you won't experience anything. Therefore, watching a movie is better than this. Because this is not the most handsome, most beautiful thing. You looking at me 1.5 hours now. You're looking at me for 1.5 hours. Therefore, this is not the most beautiful thing. But if you watch a movie, if you use that time, perhaps you will entertain that than this. But if you can entertain the life, at least for a second, then you will think about the other second. That's why we should initiate. Try individually. If you have a day to sacrifice. But yes, this is Jetonarama Buddhist Monastery. It is perhaps 1.5 hours drive. Yes, 1.5 hours drive. But you come here not for shopping. You come here to achieve your salvation, ladies and gentlemen. How far can you go? How far can you go to build up your business? You travel, perhaps you go abroad. How many miles you travel? That's why There you want to build your treasure on the earth. To do so, you will go the extra mile and you will do everything what you can do because you have experienced pleasure. But in this path, you haven't experienced anything because you haven't tried. Isn't that the truth? Therefore, I'm not saying that you can't achieve anything. How can I say that you can't achieve anything? Because you haven't tried anything yet. You haven't tried this. But I know you have listened to the Dhamma. I know that. You have listened to the Dhamma. You are not zero. You have listened to the Dhamma and you have knowledge. Now you need to practice. To practice, let's practice with us. Initially, after that you don't have to come. If you can see the path, if you know what to do, then yes, you don't have to come. Then we can save our food. But until you practice, until you enter the path and move forward, then you need someone to guide. Therefore, but I'm not forcing you again. If you can, make a decision today, because this is another opportunity. You and I meet today, and if you can decide to sacrifice 1 day per week, just one day per week, to come to the monastery and be with Noble Association. And when you come to the monastery, your teacher will arrange something. I know that. He will arrange something because he's dreaming. Then I said, yes, you are dreaming. This will be a dream. Because he doesn't want to tell you over and over again. Because he's so diplomatic. I'm not. He handles things tactfully. I handle things forcefully. Therefore, I want to see your smile, no matter what. But right now, I had to say something to see this. Look how beautiful your smile is. But I had to say something to see that beauty. Otherwise, you will experience that beauty. When you smile, you feel something lighter. Don't you feel that? Like a feather. When you smile, that's why people like to smile or laugh. That's why people pay money for stand-up comedians, or to stand-up comedians and those people, because people can laugh, perhaps 1 hour. Perhaps for 1 hour, they laugh. But they pay money because they feel something lighter in their mind. But you will feel this forever if you achieve this. How much money can you pay for this stand-up comedian? Will make you laugh forever. Then pay that to a taxi and come to the monastery. When you come to the monastery, you will associate with these noble people. When you associate with these noble people, your life will change, ladies and gentlemen. Your life will change, I'm telling you. They are well educated. They came from well-off background. They have everything, but now they don't have anything. They have, like I have this, they have only this. These girls, can't you see? Girls, beautiful girls. They didn't have any problem in their life. They came here just to attain Nibbana. No one came here by saying that, oh, I lost my husband, I lost my boyfriend, I can't live, I will commit suicide, otherwise I will stay here. No one. If someone comes to us and say, we will commit suicide, otherwise I need to ordain, then we have to say that. Do the first. Because becoming a monk without enthusiasm will be a disaster. It's worse than committing suicide. Therefore, we never let enter anyone who doesn't want to attain Nibbana. Everyone came here to attain Nibbana. Today, if someone decides that he doesn't want to attain, he or she doesn't want to attain Nibbana, then we will ask him to go home. With compassion. Because this is for Nibbana. Because this is Lord Buddha's ministry, Buddha Sasana. This Buddha Sasana is only for attaining Nibbana, not for any other thing, Sachin. That's why we have all the sacred things here, but we never let anyone do puja there. We have those things. You can worship, you can remind yourself that the Buddha, when you see the Bodhi tree, you can remind that the Buddha won his last battle and he achieved his victory. That's the symbol. Then you can worship the Buddha and the victory, and you should determine that I also should win. That's why we have planted a sacred Bodhi tree. Only for that sake. Not to do Bodhi Puja. And tying some panduru. And hold some banners that Rahu Apaladuru Eva. But we don't do it here. If someone wants to do that, then they can find somewhere else and they can do that. But here, when you see Jayasri Mahabodhi, what should you see? The victory. I always feel that victory, ladies and gentlemen. That victory. The Buddha won his samsara. Then, why shouldn't I? That's how I always feel. The Buddha, my master, won it. Then he gave us the path. He taught us all the things. We have the path, we have the Dhamma, we have noble association, then what else? We need. We have everything, and we have the four basic requisites. Because of the Buddha, we received them. You gave us, you give us, you give dana, you give alms. Because of the Buddha. Then because of the Buddha, because of my master, I received everything. I have been receiving everything. This belongs to my master. This body belongs to my master. This mind belongs to my master. And this wisdom belongs to, especially, this wisdom belongs to him. We pass this wisdom to everyone. That's why. If you can become one of us, youngsters, I'm telling you, if you can become one of us, just give 2 years. Just 2 years. 1 year for Anagarika, other year for being a monk. If you can stay as a monk, at least for 1 year, you will see that. You will see that. Just 2 years. Take a gap year. Take some. Then take a leave from your job. Otherwise, we will help you to find a job. We have a lot of devotees, millionaires. We are waiting for them to come to the monastery and ordain. They are millionaires. They build all these things. There is a gentleman. He wants to build the Dhamma hall. I think it cost a lot. He wants to build it his own. He's a businessman. His both sons are with us. And he has a big garment factory, and he's going to offer that garment factory to the Buddha Sasana. Because he wants to come to the monastery one day and ordain. How? He comes to the monastery every day. Every day means every Saturday. He comes to the monastery and he listens to the Dhamma. And he bought a bus for his family and his friends to come to the monastery. This is one example I'm telling you. Therefore, for young people I'm talking about, sons and daughters, if you lose your job, we will help you to find another one. But come and join with us for 2 years. See. If nothing happens, then please go, because it doesn't work to you, but it worked to me. Then I can say that I'm the luckiest, you are some. But everyone is happy. You can see that. Everyone is happy. If someone is not happy, they can go home. Did I force you to stay here? No. No. Again, we can save our paripu. That's why. Therefore, and it's a pleasure to talk to you, and I won't stop. Is that okay? I won't stop this. I will, when I meet you, when I have a chance to talk to you, then I will say the same. Therefore, if you can, try to come to the evening sermon as well, if you have time. Then, because when this happens over and over again, one day you will decide. Because I won't stop this until this happens. Until this happens. I won't stop this. Is that okay? That's my confession. That's my confession. I have achieved something. I would say something. I have achieved something, and I'm so happy. My mind is so serene. I'm not saying that I have completed, but I have come to some extent. I have achieved something than before. I have the path. I have the truth. I have all the noble companions with me. But I learn languages. If I can sacrifice my time to learn languages, I learn 4 languages. I learn the English language as well, because I want to make it fluent. Before I didn't want. My teacher is there in Nalanda College. She forced me to learn, I can remember that. But I didn't learn, because I didn't want to learn. I wanted to learn about the invisible world, because I wanted to know that what happens to a man who dies. I did my experiments, therefore I know a lot, but I can't tell these things, because if I tell these things, you think that, oh, it's so superficial, we don't want to listen that, we don't believe these things. Perhaps you will say that. Otherwise, I know a lot about that, because I learned. Therefore, I didn't want to learn about computers or English or anything, because I didn't see anything there. But after that, I went to London. There, I wanted to become a millionaire. Therefore, I didn't want to learn English again. But when I became a monk, and when I experienced the life, at least a bit, I wanted to learn English, because half of the world population speak the English language. Therefore, I started learning English language. Otherwise, I knew some and I used that. It was enough for me, because I was looking for money. I earned a lot, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to become a millionaire. I had a big ego. I wanted to become the first European millionaire in my family. I didn't want to come to Sri Lanka. I wanted to be there. I wanted to settle my life there. I wanted to settle there. But finally, I was so lucky. Therefore, I saw the truth. Thanks to my great teachers. All the monks in the world, I'm telling you, all the monks. I respect them a lot. I got this robe because of them. Now I learn Hindi. I can preach, but still I learn. I can preach in Hindi without any hesitation. But still I learn because I want to help them. By doing that, when I learn, I feel so compassionate. If I can learn these languages, why can't you come to the monastery and listen, ladies and gentlemen? That's what I'm telling you. I learned these things not to understand the Dhamma. I learned these things to preach to you, let you understand the Dhamma. That's what I'm telling you. But whether you come or not, I will learn. I'll do my job because my teachers did their job. Because of that, thanks to that, I'm blessed. Therefore, I have that responsibility on my shoulder. Therefore, I poke on your head, young. When I see young blood, I want you to be in this. Because you can. Then we will help others. If you can be the message, you can send the message throughout the world. Then I'll see you perhaps next week or whenever we meet again. If you understood this and if you experience the life, I'm not talking about life, the life. If you experience the life and if you love me, what would you do? I don't understand. Let's assume that I don't understand. You understood it and you experienced this and you love me, then what should you do? Or what would you do? What would you do? If you are compassionate, what would you do? That's the same thing. Therefore, please don't be angry with me. I will help you until you understand this. You will realize, you know the love of mother, but still you don't know the love of Arya. You have to, to understand the love of mother, you have to be a mother. Yeah? That is the same. To understand love of Arya people, noble one, you have to be one of them. May the blessings of the Noble Sri Falsham be with you all.